Chapter 6. The Revolt of 1857. The Great Revolt came in 1857 was the biggest challenge to British government. This revolt began with a mutiny of the soldiers, but very soon people from all sections of the society joined with them. It was not a sudden occurrence, but a culmination of the accumulated grievances of the Indians. The revolt of 1857 occurred during the Governor-General Lord Canning. According to English historians, the revolt of 1857 was a mere sepoy mutiny with selfish interest. On the other hand, Indian historians regard it as the first war of Indian independence. In this way, regarding the nature of the revolt of 1857, there is a difference of opinion between the historians. An overview of uprising of the revolt of 1857. Now we see that the uprising of the revolt of 1857 was not confined to one group, region or place. The revolt began at Meerut, 58 kilometers from Delhi, on 10 May 1857, and then rapidly spread over a vast area from Punjab in the north to Narmada in the south, and from Bihar in the east. Of repression by the British, and innumerable atrocities by them ended the chapter of the revolt after the hanging of Tansha Tope on 18 April 1859. Sources. Some of the sources that have helped the contemporary historians in understanding the revolt of 1857 include diaries written by the First India Company's civil servants Richard Henry Clifford and books written by the British Army officers like William Stephen Rape's 12 Years of a Soldier's Life in India and Colonel G.B. Mattison The Indian Mutiny of 1857. Urdu newspapers like Tilsim from Lucknow, Sadiqul Akbar and Delhi Urdu Akbar that had begun to be published and circulated in the late 19th century also help historians to reconstruct the history of 1857. Causes of the revolt. The biggest challenge of British authority came in the form of a popular revolt in 1857. It began with a mutiny of the soldiers but was soon joined by all sections of the Indian society. The revolt was a result of various grievances of the people against the British rule. In order to lessen the importance of the event, British historians referred to it only as a sepoy mutiny, that is, one in which only the sepoys were involved. However, the revolt was so widespread in area and involved the masses to such an extent that it has been rightly called the First War of Indian Independence by Indian historians. Political causes. Lord Dalhousie followed a policy of annexations of princely states on one pretext or the other. This stirred the anger of the rulers of the states in general. They, therefore, became the bitter enemies of the British rule. The state of Awadh was annexed on the plea that it was not governed properly. The Mughal Emperor was told that his successors would not be regarded as king and royal palaces were to be vacated. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwas Baji Rao II, was refused recognition as ruler. The adopted son of Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi was similarly denied the right to succeed to the throne. Economic causes. The most important cause of popular discontent was the British policy of economically exploiting India. This affected all sections of society. The peasants suffered due to high revenue demands and the strict revenue collection policy. Artisans and craftsmen were ruined by the large-scale inflow to cheap British manufactured goods into India, which made their hand-made goods uneconomical to produce. People was made a living by following religious and cultural professions lost their source of livelihood due to the withdrawal of royal patronage, which in turn was caused by the displacement of the old ruling classes. A corrupt and uncaring administration added to the miseries of the people. Social and religious causes. The conservation religious sentiments of many people in India were aroused by the social reforms undertaken by the foreign rulers. Abolition of the sati, widow remarriage etc. appeared to be examples of undue interference by them the foreigners in the religious affairs of the people of India. The official policy of taxing lands belonging to temples and mosques also hurt the sentiments of the people. The military authorities forbade the sepoys to display caste and religious marks. This hurt the sepoys' sentiments. Converts to Christianity could claim their share in the ancestral property. The people, therefore, felt that the British government was deliberately trying to convert them to Christianity. The new educational institutions, many of which were started by the Christian missionaries, were looked upon with suspicion. Religious preachers, pandits, and Maulvis, who depended upon the patronage of the Indian rulers, were deprived of their important source of income. They played an important role in spreading hatred against the foreign rule. Military causes. Indian soldiers formed 7/8 of the total British troops in India. As they were a part of the Indian society, they too suffered from the consequences of oppressive British rule. The annexation of Awadh aroused their strong feeling against foreign rule. They were also influenced by the general fear that their religion was in danger. Besides, they had other grievances. The Indian sepoys were looked upon as inferior beings and treated badly by their British superiors. They were paid much less than the British soldiers. All avenues of less than the British soldiers. All avenues of promotion were closed to them as well. The higher army posts were reserved for the British. There were other specific and more immediate causes for the discontent among the sepoys. The sepoys were not allowed to mow marks which showed their caste and sect. This hurt the sentiments deeply. So also the Act O 1816, which required the new recruits to travel overseas if needed. The Hindu sepoys resented this, as according to the sea led to a loss of caste. Another cause of sepoy discontent was the discontinuance of the foreign service allowance, bhatta, which the sepoys were getting for fighting outside the country. Psychological causes. A general belief prevailed among the people that the British rule in India would last of a century. The foundation of this rule had been laid in 1757. Therefore, the year 1857 was considered to be the last year of the British rule in India. Beginning of the revolt of 1857. The first soldiers to protest against the greased cartridges was Mangal Pandey. He belonged to the 34th Infantry stationed at Barakpur. He refused to use the cartridges and was later hanged. On 24 April 1857, some soldiers stationed at Meerut also refused to use the cartridges. On 9 May 1857, they were severely punished for this. This incident sparked off a general mutiny among the sepoys at Meerut. On 10 May 1857, these rebel soldiers killed their British officers, released their jailed comrades and raised the flag of revolt. This was the beginning of the Great Revolt. The soldiers then set off for Delhi. On 11 May 1857, they reached Delhi. Here they were joined by the local infantry. The rebels captured Delhi and declared the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of India. Prominent leaders of the uprising. Bahadur Shah Zafar. The rebellion soldiers from Meerut came to Delhi and proclaimed the Mughal king as their emperor. Bahadur Shah was perhaps the weakest link in the chain of revolt. He lacked qualities of leadership. His sons were captured by ship. His sons were captured by the British and put to death. Bahadur Shah was tried and exiled to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. Bakht Khan had been a subedar of artillery in the British Army. He led the revolt of the Bareilly troops. After the occupation of Delhi by the British in September 1857, Bakht Khan went to Lucknow. He continued fighting till he died in a battle. Nana Sahib Peshwa Nana Sahib was the adopted son of Baji Rao II. The last Peshwa Nana Sahib led the revolt at Kanpur. He was successful in expelling the British from Kanpur. He was assisted by two very able officers, Tansha Tope and Azim Ullah. Though Nana Sahib and his forces fought bravely, Kanpur was recaptured by the British. Nana Sahib succeeded in escaping of Nepal. Tansha Tope, the chief burden of fighting on behalf of Nana Sahib, fell on the shoulders of Tansha Tope. He was one of the most loyal generals of Nana Sahib. He achieved great fame for patriotism, bravery and skillful guerrilla operations. Another loyal servant of Nana Sahib was Azim Ullah. He was expert in political propaganda. Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi is regarded as one of the greatest heroines of Indian history. The British refused to acknowledge her right to adopt an heir to the throne of Jhansi. The British rulers annexed her state and threatened to treat her as an instigator of the rebellion of the Sepoys of Jhansi. Tales of her bravery and military skill have inspired generations of Indians since then. She died fighting at Kalpi near Jhansi on 17 June 1858. Suppression of revolt. In spite of the widespread nature of the revolt, it was suppressed within a little over a year. Colin Campbell and Henry Havelock reclaimed the lost territories. Delhi was recaptured by the British forces in September 1857. The Mughal Emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, was taken prisoner and departed to Rangoon in Burma. The Mughal dynasty, thus, came to an end. Bakht Khan, Rani Lakshmi Bai, Khan Bahadur Khan and Kunwar Singh died fighting. Nana Sahib and Begum Hazrat Mahal escaped to Nepal. Tansha Tope was captured and hanged. Many cruelties were committed by both sides in the course of the revolt. After the suppression of the revolt, however, the tribal soldiers and the civilian population suffered a terrible fate. The rebel soldiers were tied to the mouth of cannons and blown off. Innocent civilians were hanged and mercilessly killed on a large scale. Even small children suffered inhuman cruelties. All these acts of brutality were done to dissuade another mass revolt in future. The nature of elite and peasant participation. There is a great divergence of views on the nature of the revolt. The historian, scholars, writers, political leaders and statesmen differ widely. Peasants' revolt. The land revenue policy of the East India Company had made the condition of the peasants miserable. They became landless in large numbers. They were oppressed by the employees of the East India Company, zamindars and the moneylenders. Even before the 1857 revolt, these were several peasants' revolts in different parts of the country. An opportunity came in 1857 when the soldiers' sepoys revolted. The peasants in general took a leading part in the revolt. Role of the elite or educated persons and nobles. The elite in general did not support the revolt in account of the following two reasons. 1. The educated Indians, generally speaking, were of the view that the British rule was beneficial of the Indians. 2. The rebels were opposed to progressive reforms in the social life on the people. 1857 revolt was not a sepoy mutiny. Whatever the British historians say, but in fact the revolt of 1857 was not merely a sepoy mutiny. However, the sepoys had played an active role in the revolt. As a matter of fact, they were the first to revolt against the rule East India Company. But the revolt was not confined to them. Several other sections of the society had also taken part in the revolt. Several rulers also joined in the struggle. Failure of the revolt. Although the revolt was a big event in the history of India, it had very little chance of success against an organized and powerful enemy. In all areas, the revolt was suppressed within a little over a year of its outbreak. Many reasons were responsible for its failure. The revolt did not spread to all parts of the country. Nor was it supported by all groups and sections of the Indian society. South and West India remained largely unaffected by the revolt. Many Indian rulers refused to help the rebels and some were openly hostile to the rebels and helped the British in suppressing the revolt. The middle and upper classes and the modern educated Indians also did not support the revolt. The revolt was not organized properly. The rebels had no ideology or program which could be implemented in the captured areas. None of them knew what to do after the capture of a region. The leadership of the movement was weak. Most of its leaders did not think of the interest of the whole country but were motivated by narrow, personal gains. They fought to liberate only their own territories. No national leader emerged to coordinate movement and give it purpose and direction.